Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. I'm a beauty consultant, and today I want to share with you some new products that I have either picked up or brands have sent to me, and I want to demo them, give you my thoughts, and let you know if I think they're worth your buy. So stay tuned for all of that. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly do appreciate it. And if you are new, I would love for you to click that subscribe button and join the Glam Girl Squad, because I'd love to have you and we'd love to have you. And let's get right into this video. Okay, so first we have the new Givenchy Prisme Libre. This is the skin caring concealer, and it does retail for $37, and it does come in 24 shades. We get a total of 0.37 fluid ounces of product, or 11 milliliters of product. So there's a lot of product in here. There is a nice size doe foot applicator, and I really do like the packaging of it. Like, this feels really, really nicely. This is shade N312, and that is for medium to tan with neutral undertoned complexions. This is gonna be a revolutionary concealer that is going to be claiming to have 24 hours worth of wear. It's gonna be a 3 multi-purpose concealer, so it's going to be able to correct, care, and illuminate. It is formulated with 95% natural origin ingredients, and it's going to also provide hydration and radiance. It's supposed to even out your complexion without creasing or settling into fine lines or wrinkles. And it's supposed to smooth out your skin texture, make the eyes look lifted, and reduce the signs of fatigue that you might have on the face or under the eyes. There are 3 undertones in this concealer. We have warm, cool, and neutral. So I don't smell a fragrance with this concealer. As you can see, I applied it onto the face. Very, very creamy. And it also has a cooling effect almost. Like when I put the concealer on my face, it feels kind of cool. And this is my second time wearing the concealer. So the first time I wore it, I let it sit for like a solid 10 minutes or so, and then I blended it out. It blended out very seamlessly. So this is not one of those concealers that's gonna dry really quickly, or even, like, I would say completely dry down at all, because I mean, I washed some makeup brushes, so that was at least 10 minutes. And when I sat down to blend out the concealer, it still blended out really nicely. Today though, I wanted to see how it blended out without me letting it sit, because most of the time I do let my concealer sit for a good couple of minutes and then I'll blend it out, because I like that I can get the most coverage from the concealer. And the first time I wore this, I thought that the formula would have maybe thinned out too much if I would have blended it into the skin right away. Well, I'm so happy to say that is not true. So today I let it sit under the eyes for like no more than a minute, and then I blended it out, and I was like, oh, this is like very amazing coverage, but I still feel like the under eye looks hydrated. It feels hydrated. I am loving this concealer. Like, the first time I wore it, I was like, okay, I gotta wear it again. I think I like it, but I wanna wear it again just to make sure. But like, I really enjoy how it looks under the eyes. I love this actual shade. N312, I think, is like a beautiful complementary highlight shade for my complexion. And I mean, it says medium to full coverage, and I would completely agree to that, because even though the foundations that I'm wearing, I'm doing a foundation showdown. Should I show y'all? Okay. I'm comparing the YSL All Hours foundation to the new Gucci foundation. So stay tuned for that video. Even though the foundations I'm wearing are more full coverage, I saw additional coverage from this concealer. So I really do think that this provides a solid medium to maybe even full coverage, because I feel like you can barely see my freckles, especially from a distance. But this does last very well. The first time I wore it for a really good amount of time, like over 8 hours worth of wear, and I felt like it held up throughout the day. So I really enjoy this concealer. I'll definitely let you know like my end of the month thoughts, but like, so far this is definitely going to be one I'm going to be reaching for, because it is really, really good. A little bit does go a long way. So when applying it, like, I'll take it out of the packaging, just like swipe one in, and you literally can conceal your whole face with just this one application. So you don't need to go in like your tube multiple times to get product, because a good amount of product does come out on the doe foot that you can use all over your face. So highly recommend this. I think this is really, really great. And I do like the shade range that they do have as well. You can pick this up at Sephora or you can order it off of their website. Those are the two places I've seen it so far. Okay, then after that, Saie Beauty sent over their new shade of their cream bronzer. Now, I love the Saie Beauty cream bronzer. I bought 2 shades when it first launched almost 3 years ago now, and I even compared this to the new Chanel deeper bronzer. It's not new now, but it was new at the time, and I preferred Saie's over Chanel's, okay? So I originally brought medium bronze and deep bronze, and I eventually decluttered medium bronze because I reached for deep bronze more. Medium bronze gives me more of like a subtle bronze, but deep bronze really showed up the way that I like it to. Well, when Saie sent over their new shade of the bronzer, they sent me medium bronze. So I'll go ahead and swatch all 3 of these for you. Okay, so here we have medium bronze. This is the new tan bronze shade, and then this is deep bronze. So I used to wear deep bronze because I felt like medium bronze was just a subtle type of bronzer on my face, and I like for my bronzer to show up, but this tan bronzer is splendid. So I prefer a neutral to cooler bronzer. I really love reddish bronzers in the summertime, but for year round, give me a good bronzer contour shade and like I'm good to go. So as much as I loved this shade deep bronze, whenever I wanted a neutral bronzer in a cream formula, this would not be the one I would reach for. However, this tan bronze shade is scrumptious, and you saw me apply it to the face and it is perfection. It's not overbearing and it's really great and pigmented, but you can also sheer out the formula. So if you don't want the bronze shade to be so intense, it doesn't have to look that intense. So I highly recommend, if you felt like the shade deep bronzer or deep bronze was too warm, too red for your complexion, but you wanted a nice, you know, neutral bronze and you love the formula, check out tan bronze. It is amazing. It is the one that I'm reaching for now over deep bronze. I'll use deep bronze in the summer when I get a tan, but like tan bronze, this is the perfect shade for my complexion. They also came out with another new shade. It's for lighter complexions, so definitely check out their couple of new shades. I love that formulation. I still think it's one of like, it ranks in my very top 1 or 2 cream bronzer of all time slots. Check it out. Okay, then Natasha Denona. They sent over their new Love Face Palette, and I was so happy to receive this because I saw it come out, or at least I thought it came out like a month ago, and when I went to go purchase it, it was sold out, or it wasn't available, I'll say that. So I thought maybe it had sold out. I didn't really know what happened, but it is out and I'm so happy. So this is what the new Love Face Palette looks like. So this does retail for $62, and it says that it contains buttery soft eyeshadows and a creamy matte and metallic formula. It also debuts a new sparkling foiled eyeshadow formula in an icy vintage rose shade. It says it's paired with rich taffy pink cream blush and a champagne gel to powder highlighter. And the Love Face Palette is inspired by Natasha's need for a do-it-all palette designed for travel and or quickly taking a look from day to night. So the palette is going to be cruelty-free, paraben-free, and it's made in Italy. So I immediately was like, now, if y'all know me, this is my type of color story. So I was very interested in getting into these eyeshadows, and let me tell you, every bit of these eyeshadows is the Natasha Denona formula that we know and that we love. So these matte shades right here are very richly pigmented, blend effortlessly. Pigmentation is like 100, but if you go in with a light amount of product on your brush, you can extend that pigmentation as far as you want it to go. So I started off with this first shade here called Giddy. Put that into the transition area of the eye. Then I went in with Echo, and I wanted to smoke out that outer edge. And with this shade, it blended so far. So I would suggest that, especially if you don't want a lot of this shade, just like literally tap your brush in and just start to blend, and you will take this shadow as far as you want it to go. And another thing that, and this is just a general tip just for eyeshadow application in general, but when I wanted to add more of this shade in like a particular area of my eye, but I didn't really want to add too much product, I found that there was enough residual product on my brush to get what I wanted and get more product without adding a whole bunch of more product and then doing too much. So I was so impressed by this shade because a lot of times purple eyeshadows, from what I've been told, are hard to formulate without them being patchy and also make them very blendable. And I think she did amazingly with this particular plum purple shade. And then this shade here, Esme, I wanted to blend into the middle portion of the eye. And then this new formula, I'm here for it. So it's called Affinity, and I will swatch this one. It's like, you know what this is? It's almost like those fairy dust shades that I love. Everybody's coming out with them. I guess everyone's like, I need a fairy dust shade. So that's what the shade looks like up close. I love the iridescence. I love that if you want just a little bit of it, you can just like add a little sparkle, a little like just ray of sunshine, but you can definitely build it up because I feel like I built it up quite nicely on my eyes, as you can see here. So if you want just a little bit, take your flat shader brush, tap it into the shade, and literally just tap it all over the eye, and you'll just get this beautiful fleck of light. But if you want to build it up, you can do that. And I do feel like if you do build up this shadow, it can have a base to it, even though the formula is kind of sheer. So it's not gonna be the most opaque type of shadow, but I do think if you apply layer after layer after layer, then you can build it up if you wanted this to be like your all over lid shadow. I think it can work for that. It's not so opaque in its base that it can't do that. I love it. And then on the lower lash line, I added these two matte shades, and then I smoked it out with this one. And I was like, now is this gonna be a little ashy? No, it wasn't. I think it is beautiful. Okay, she did amazingly with these shades in this palette. So then we went on to the blush and highlighters. So these are going to be a cream type formula. She specifically said this champagne shade is going to be gel to powder, and the formulation of the highlighter and the blush definitely feel different. The blush feels like just a traditional cream blush, and the highlighter feels more almost like a powder one. So there's a swatch of the blush, and then there is the highlighter. The blush, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of like, when I was applying it, I said, now you just said in your last video that you wanted all the bubblegum pink blushes, Chelsea. And I was like, I did, but I thought this cream blush was gonna be a little bit more warm. I added another layer, and it is definitely cooler, which at first I was like, well, why would she add a cool toned blush to this more like warm based eyeshadow color scheme? But then I was like, I love mixing cool and warm tone colors together. Like I like the contrast. So I think I know what she was doing with that. And then two, in these eyeshadows that she has here, not all of them are totally warm. Like if you wanted to put these two together, then you would have more of a cooler toned eye look. So I was like, I see what she did there. I really enjoy the shade of the highlighter. I think it's beautiful and I loved it. So what I wanted to do after I applied the cream blush, I wanted to warm up my cheeks. And while I was applying this shade on the eye, I was like, this could be a really beautiful blush shade, and it is. So I was able to get my blush brush in here, and I just added it on top of the cream formula, and I think it looked really nice. Also, when I was applying the cream blush, it did not pick up my powder and my foundation underneath, so I was really happy about that. It is a formula that, in my opinion, does dry down, so I think it's not gonna be cream to powder at all, but I do think it's a cream formula that does dry down some, so it's not one of those cream blushes that you have to set, but you can apply a product on top and it works well. So I give this one, if I had to like rate it, I give this like a 9 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm taking off a little bit of a point is just because of this shade here. I think it's okay, but I don't think it's gonna be a universal blush shade for everybody. So that's why I took a point off of it, and that's a personal preference. But I think it's also a preference for the masses. Now, I will say this highlighter shade and then of course these eyeshadows, I think these can work basically with almost any complexion, even deeper complexions. This is a champagne highlighter, but it's got a little bit more gold to it, so it's not totally icy at all, but I don't think it's also so gold toned that a lighter complexion can't enjoy it and wear it either. So I think she did amazingly with this palette. I do have her other two glam palettes, and I really enjoyed these as well. My one recommendation for her is just please change up the cream formula. I don't like the cream blush formula in any of these palettes. They're not my favorite. I think they could be better. I want them to be more pigmented, like her little square blush and highlighter palettes. I don't like that. That's just my own personal preference. I would like for the cream formula to be like less moussey like and also more pigmented, but that's just my own, you know, personal feelings. Now I'll do some quick comparisons. So immediately when I saw this, I immediately thought of the Love palette, which this particular palette was inspired by, and we look at them and we can definitely see some similarities between the two palettes. So I will say though that just looking at the shades, they don't look identical. So I'm gonna swatch the shade Valentine next to this shade Juliet. So this is Valentine from the Love palette, and then this is Juliet from the Love Face palette, the newer palette. So you can see that these two shades definitely do not look alike when you look at them side by side. Then I'm gonna do Trust from the Love palette with the deep shade Ico in the new palette. So here is Trust from the Love palette, and then this is Ico from the new palette, and you can definitely see a difference in just the formula of these two. This formula is more richly pigmented and smoother than this one is. The tones of the eyeshadows honestly look very similar up close, but I can tell you this one from the new palette was so much easier to work with than Trust from this Love palette here. Let's swatch Soul from Love and then Giddy from the new one. Okay. So this is going to be Soul from the Love palette. This is Giddy from the new palette. And I would say that these shades look a little similar, but not identical at all. That was it from the Love palette. Now let's look at the Retro palette here. I'll swatch Go Go here from Retro. So here is Go Go. So Go Go, this is Soul from Love, and then this is Giddy from the new palette. And they actually do look more similar, but they don't look, I do see a slight difference between the two. And then I have the Mini Crush palette, and I looked at it and I was like, I don't see any similarities with the new Love Face palette and that one. And then here is the Mini Love palette, and I don't see any shades in here that remind me of the shades in this new Love palette. So if you were interested in this Love Face palette and you have some of these other palettes that I just shared with you, I don't think you're gonna be replicating the shades so much, because there are differences amongst the shades in here compared to the palettes that I just shared with you. And also, in my opinion, the formulation in this Love Face palette is so much better than the formula in the Love palette. I mean, as much as I loved this palette, this formula is a lot easier to work with. And you do get the additional blush and highlighter all in one. So I would recommend this if you love yourself some pink tones and you saw it and you were like, I think I might like it, but I'm not really sure. I would recommend it. I would definitely recommend it. So Citizen Cosmetics reached out to me and asked if they could send me a couple of their products. I was like, absolutely. They are a female-owned brand, a woman of color brand, and they pride themselves on having 25 shades of nude products. So the shades that they sent me are going to be 17 Maldives. This is a lipstick and lip gloss all in one. So here is a swatch of the lipstick, which is what I'm wearing on my lips. Really beautiful mauve pink color. And then the lip gloss, it's a really beautiful, soft and hydrating formula. The lipstick is a matte formula. It's almost like a velvety matte formula. So here's the complimentary lip gloss. And I really like these two. These are tones that I like to wear on a day-to-day basis. And then the lip liner that they sent is called Cinco. The lip liners are really creamy, and this one is so richly pigmented. I love this brown shade. I feel like you can never have too many brown lip liners because all variations of brown can go with all variations of whatever lip product you're pairing it with. So I really like how this lip combination came out together. I was really excited to learn about this brand. Like, I would encourage you, if you're someone like me and you like to know about a brand, like what they stand for, what they're about, I really encourage you to look up about CTZN Cosmetics. So they are a brand founded by 3 sisters, and they are South Asian. They're born in Los Angeles. And they recall shopping in a beauty department store one day where they noticed that not a single model in the campaigns were South Asian or Middle Eastern. So they are committed to redefining inclusivity to empower all citizens of the world to truly feel represented. So they welcome all genders, ages, ethnicities, races, skin types, personalities, and beyond. I was really, like, I love reading and hearing that. And then on top of that, one of my favorite makeup artists of all time, Sir John, he is their chief creative officer. And I was like, anything that Sir John has his name on is amazing. So I was like when I found out that he was a part of their company, it was like icing on the cake. But I really enjoyed these lip products. I definitely want to get more of these because I really like this lipstick lip gloss duo. I like that it's small in size, that you can plop it in your purse. But they're sturdy. Like, the packaging is really good, formula is really good. So I'm really excited that I was introduced to this brand, but I definitely want to get more. So guys, that's it for the new products that I am trying out today. Let me know your thoughts on the products that I tried, if you're interested in them, if you have them. I want to hear all of that in the comment section below. And if you made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, I would love for you to consider subscribing and joining the Glam Girl Squad. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in my very next video. Bye guys.